Hello, welcome to Soulprint Pendulum Friday. Thank you so very much for being here. We have some interesting questions, and we actually have two sort of questions that really are going to end up being mini read. One of them pertains to Barron Trump, who it has just been announced he is going to be one of the delegates for Florida, I guess, in the upcoming convention. He's just turned 18. He's graduating sometime this month. Whether his dad shows up or doesn't show up to the grad ceremony is still sort of up in the air. And somebody wanted to know just what that was sort of about, how he would be received, etc. So it just really fast, energetically, this is what I'm going to tell you. When Donald Trump needs to distract, he trots out something. This time he trotted out Barron. I think that without doing any sort of a deep dive, just sort of the surface, I think Barron, much like Don Jr., will do what he can to win his dad's approval. And I'm going to leave it there for right now. I may do a mini on this next week. I'll see. The fact that he's 18, and truly, I feel like he is being dragged out like a show dog. And no offense to show dogs out there. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. The other one was a sort of a long involved question about where does the Democratic Party, where does the Republican Party go as we go forward? What becomes of those parties? How do they change and adapt? So that was a really interesting question, but it can't be done on a Pendulum Friday. But I did want to mention it, that I will be looking at that as a reading. Okay, so I'll message off my computer. All right, so let's get started, shall we? The first two questions are one's about Alberta and one's about Canada. So let's do those first. In Alberta, Danielle Smith and the UCP are wanting to pass Bill 20. Will it pass? I wish I knew what Bill 20 was. I know Bill 21 is not doing very well. It's getting a lot of pushback. Okay, so let's just flat ask it. Is Bill 20 going to pass? Okay, so right now it looks like a yes. I mean, part of the problem is that they can pretty much cram through whatever they want. They're trying to push their authority into city politics, municipality politics. They want to do things where they can sort of step in and override services, right? So, let's say ambulance services, there's some sort of a catastrophe and the local system is overwhelmed. The government of Alberta wants it documented that they have the authority to just swoop in and take over. And it's not sitting very well. And the reality is they do come in. This is a long practice, but what they're trying to do is make it, documented, so it gives them more clout. It's not going over very well. I'm just going to ask this question. Like, the next election isn't until 2027, so God help us, we've got some time yet. I'm going to just ask this. Is Danielle Smith, first of all, is she going to end up still being in office at the end of the term? Okay, I guess we're stuck with her for a few more years. Is the UCP party going to be able to retain leadership here in Alberta at the next election? Okay, that's a no. Will Canada reach the level of hatred and anti-Semitism and division the U.S. is experiencing? Will it take another catastrophic event to wake people up and bring us together? Okay, so and make no mistake. Listen, Canada isn't like a garden party, okay? There is anti-Semitism. There is hatred. There is division. It's just somehow not as aggressive, maybe, and not quite as pronounced. So, is that kind of lower vibration negative energy going to reach the same levels in Canada as as is currently being experienced in the United States? Okay, no. Um, will it take another catastrophic event like 9/11 to wake people up and bring us together? Well, that's disappointing. That is, as of right now, that is a yes. Will the increase in voters for Biden carry down the ballot to others of the Democratic Party? So, are the new voters for Biden going to vote blue um, for the whole ballot? Yes. Um, yeah, I think that there is a new awareness of the kind of shenanigans that go on when frankly, one party has too much power and they are trying to move forward with an agenda that does not really reflect the will of the people. Roe v. Wade. Is Stormy Daniels the woman who will bring Trump down? Okay, listen. I have been saying forever that it is not a woman, it is women who will bring him down. Death by 1,000 cuts. Let's look at this. Okay, we have Tish James. We have Bonnie Wills. We have, oh, sorry, my head just went blank. E. Jean Carroll and her lawyers. We have Daniels. We have all those other women who accused him of sexual misconduct, and he just sort of said they were all liars, and that just got shuffled under a bunch of other stuff. He is not able to deal with women who he perceives as stronger than him or having more power or more authority. And because of that, he becomes incredibly aggressive. And what happens is then there is pushback. So it is not a specific person. I mean, hell, even Ivanka has said things that are not exactly in daddy's favor, okay? It's feminine energy that ultimately is going to be what comes together, built a bigger and bigger snowball until it just takes them out. When we look back, okay, 10 years from now, when we look back at this episode in U.S. history, what's going to be really, really apparent is that women were not his friends. I mean, golly, think of all the women he has pissed off with the Roe v. Wade deal and shoving all of those ultra-conservative judges onto the Supreme Court. That's the energy that will take him down. It is not a specific person. I have never seen it as a specific person. I see it as sort of feminine energy. I don't know if other readers see it differently, but I've never ever seen a specific woman. In some ways, I'm not even sure if Trump could be brought down by one single person, because he was found liable for sexual assault. It needs to be massive female energy. And think back, what the day after he was inaugurated, there was the whole Me Too movement march. Millions upon millions of women all around the world. That's the kind of energy that he cannot push back on. He cannot win against. And that is what has been coming at him. And that is what is going to continue to come at him. Donald Trump is charged with falsifying business records, but the judge allowed all this risque stuff about a sexual encounter. Will the prosecution lose this case because the judge, over objection, allowed Ms. Daniels to tell a little bit too much of them? Okay, so let's back up a minute. I'm going to answer the sort of question. Is the prosecution going to lose this document case against Donald Trump? Is the prosecution going to lose this case? No, they're not. So a couple things. One, Stormy Daniels said a lot of stuff, but the defense did not object. And in fact, there was a couple of times that Judge Marchant objected because he felt that, her testimony was going a little bit far afield. In some ways, that has been counterbalanced by the fact that the female lawyer for Trump, in cross-examination, treated Stormy Daniels like a rape victim. She tried to shame her. It was horrible. And from what I have gathered, the jurors did not respond well to it. Now, just before I started doing this, the defense once again asked for a mistrial, which the judge denied. And they were saying they wanted a mistrial because of all of this salacious material. And, let's not forget, the defense's side of the story is it never happened. And the prosecution literally at one point said, listen, judge, if they want to prove that sex didn't happen, they can just go right ahead and prove it. The defense has not been doing a good job. And so, no. And so let's do it this way, because is an appeal going to be granted to Donald Trump after the guilty verdict in this case? Is there going to be an appeal? Okay, so that's right now, that's a yes. Is that appeal going to reverse the verdict? No. So it kind of looks like he'll be given the appeal again in deference to the fact that, he used to be a president and he's like the presidential nominee for the Republicans. And so they're going to, maybe go above and beyond, but it's not going to reverse anything. Was the Katie Johnson story debunked or paid for with silence? Okay, so if I remember correctly, Katie Johnson is it's sort of a name as opposed to Jane Doe for a woman who said that she had a child by Trump. Now, apparently that they could not even, whoever was investigating it, whether this was, journalists or wherever she sort of came under scrutiny, apparently she could not maintain her own story. And so it sort of became apparent that she was making it up. So let's just ask, is the story told by Katie Johnson, was it true? No. Was she in any way paid to be silent? No. Will Liz Cheney vote and show her support to help elect President Biden and other Democrats? It's a little early, but we'll ask. Is Liz Cheney at this time open to the idea of voting for Biden and or additional Democrats. Okay, so what you have here is a little teeny tiny kind of yes, like maybe. The bigger question is, should she end up voting for Biden? Will she make that information public? No. So she is not likely to give a full-throated endorsement to him. He's definitely not going to endorse Trump. Keep it in perspective, right? Liz Cheney has the absolute intention of recreating a Republican Party when the current one, crashes and burns. So she's not, altruistic. She has her own political agenda. And it is very possible that she might end up privately voting, but according to the pendulum, it's not going to come out. It's going to be kept quiet. Will McConnell's seat the McConnell seat, now he's in Kentucky, right? Be replaced by a Democrat. So when McConnell steps down, is a Democrat going to take that seat? Yes. Do the MAGAs know deep down that Trump is going to lose everything, even the election? Okay, let's break that down a little bit. Do Trump's MAGA followers truly believe that Trump is going to win the 2024 election in their heart of hearts? Yes. And you know why? Because they're not getting any information that indicates he won't. That's part of it. Do the people around him, the people in his campaign, those who he surrounds himself with, do they understand that he's not going to win the 2024 election? Do they understand that he is not going to win? Yes. And so then the next question is, well, what are they doing? Why are they doing this? Why are they clinging to him? And the reality is, all of those people have their own agendas. And for whatever their individual agendas are, they feel that this is where they need to and how they need to position themselves at the time. That's where we're at. Okay, will Jack Smith refer Judge Cannon to the 11th District after her most recent delay tactic? Is he going to be able to send what needs to be sent up to the 11th District? That's a yes. Is she going to end up recusing herself, like stepping away willingly? As of right now, that's looking like a yes. I don't know. Maybe if she gets slapped down. I saw somebody had just sent me a notice saying that 10,000 signatures have already been sent off to the 11th appeal court saying you have to take this. This has to be addressed. It makes no sense. I mean, it makes sense in as much as he wants this thing to go away, right? I mean, this is really serious charges against him. Thank you. Sorry about that. You just didn't need to share my sneeze. So is that trial going to end up, the Florida trial, is that going to actually end up being started, completed, halfway through before November? It looks like no. Kind of what I'm hearing is even if Eileen Cannon is bounced, a new judge coming in there's going to sort of be that period of time where things need to be reviewed and et cetera, et cetera. So it feels like there's going to be a delay there. Now, I have said before, that trial in particular, if Trump is still around after the election, that trial at that point will go forward. He is not going to receive the kind of deference that he has been receiving so far, because by then he will simply be a former president and a two-time loser. Okay, so there's that. Is the Manhattan case is the Manhattan case decision enough proof for his followers? Probably not. Probably not. It's a no. Again, if they're watching Fox News, if they're watching any of the right-leaning media, they touch on things and then they give a reason, right? One of the ones that I saw a clip of Fox News, and they were talking about how Trump just doesn't seem to be able to sit still. He's just fidgeting and he's whatever. And they said, well, of course he is. This is a very healthy, busy, active man. You can't take somebody who is that vital and plays golf and blah, 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 and make them sit for 8 hours. Of course they're going to get fidgety. That's what they're being fed, not the fact that Trump is out of control. He can't control his own reactions. He's huffing and puffing. They don't hear any of that. And so for them, what they hear is that it's a witch hunt and he's being picked on. So now, let me clarify, because what I'm hearing is it's not going to penetrate that hardcore 25%, okay? But it is going to penetrate everybody else. So, we need to stop thinking that the MAGA followers are powerful, because they're not. They have lost their power. They have shown themselves to be exactly what they are. And by and large, it's not being well received by the rest of America. Will SCOTUS decide the immunity question in time for the January 6th trial to begin before the election? Okay, so yes. Is SCOTUS going to grant Trump some kind of limited immunity for presidential actions? It's a small yes. So right now, I don't think we need to get excited about that. And they do have to render their decision. What is it, by the end of June? So it would be very tight to fit in that trial, because Judge Shutkin has said that she would give everybody like 88 days to kind of regroup. So it'll be tight. But okay, so price gouging is an unfair and deceptive practice. Elizabeth Warren Price Gouging Preventative Act, in which she introduced in February of this year, is definitely not serving its purpose. Although our economy recently has cooled down, merchants on Amazon, eBay, and the like still use inflation in order to set higher prices. I would like to ask the pendulum if our knowledgeable and sincere President Biden has a plan on making that price gouging stop, sort of once and for all. All right. And by the way, I mean, it's not just Amazon and eBay and whatever. It is your local grocery store. It is all kinds of retail establishment. So it's going on like everywhere. So let me ask. Let's start there. Um, is is the Biden administration going to be able to put into place some sort of legislation that will prevent or discourage or even perhaps penalize companies that continue to practice price gouging? Okay, so as of right now, there is something that they're working on. Okay. Um, you know, this is the reality. Companies are companies to make money. And when they find a way to increase their profits, they're going to do that. And as long as people continue to buy at that higher price, they have very little reason to claw back those prices. It is when people stop buying that they go, oh, wait a minute, we need to do something to attract. BRICS, which stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, has been in the news lately. Will that succeed in replacing the dollar? So these countries are getting together and they're sort of trying to create a joint currency, if I understand correctly. Is that likely to replace the dollar? No. All right. Um, okay. So on my video yesterday, I think, I asked my pendulum some questions with regards to Judge Cannon. And so we're going to review them. I asked the amazing Joyce, thank you so much, Joyce, to include them in the questions because I was not going to remember to go back to them. So these are the things I asked my pendulum about in the last reading. Is Jack Smith going to proceed with an attempt to get Cannon removed? Yes. Is that going to be successful? As of right now, yes. If it is not successful, will the new administration consider impeaching Judge Cannon? And that is a yes. If it goes that far, is that part of what will prompt Judge Cannon to leave the bench under her own steam? Yes. Okay. Yeah, tens of thousands of people have signed petitions saying that they want the 11th Circuit to remove Judge Cannon. Um, and that's just all there is to it. So there you have it. Um, okay, there's some sort of apparently, it's going around that Eileen Cannon was promised a Supreme Court seat if she did what she did for Trump. I would need to have some degree of proof of that before I would consider that valid. And then something also about that her husband somehow is friends with Trump, and they're asking if that is not a conflict of interest. Listen, when it comes to Eileen Cannon, there is so much in the air. I don't believe that she would have been offered a seat on the Supreme Court. Has Eileen Cannon been offered a seat on the Supreme Court? No. Has she been offered something more lucrative? Yes. Does she truly believe that the case against Trump would find him guilty? Yes. And is that the reason that she is dragging her feet? Yes. I have a question here. Could the Knight of Swords be telling us about the 2 law clerks that Cannon fired in the last year, who have been apparently talking to the DOJ about things that they saw well in her service? I can't answer that because I don't remember what the 2 of Swords was in reference to. So let's ask the question another way. Have law clerks that worked with or under Judge Cannon, have they actually been talking to the Justice Department in terms of stuff that they have seen and witnessed? Okay, that's a yes. Will Jack Smith be able to get a different judge for the documents case before the election of 2024? Okay, right now that's a yes. It's not a strong yes, but it's a yes. Okay, that's what I know. Thank you so very much for being here. Thank you for hanging in for all of the 31 minutes and 44 seconds, 45 seconds that this video has taken. It's the weekend. Be good to yourself and someone else. Take good care. And I will look forward to seeing all of you next week. Take care now. Bye-bye.